and salutations. It is the Apetabi Ialosha Oshun Ola Omi Oshun Yami Akala Tunde, the Voodoo Queen, and this is Got2BOshun Television. This is the place where I give Black women and femmes the tools that are required for us to liberate ourselves from mammying and from mulehood. So that is the information that you will find here. This morning, I'm going to expound on one of the videos that I made yesterday. And one of the videos that I made yesterday was explaining the importance of seeing Black women in leadership positions and positions of power. The importance of the image of Black women being centered within our structures, within our communities, and definitely within our movements, within our revolutionary movements. It is essential for the image to be seen. It is essential. And you can do your own study on this, but your eyes are the they are like the switch. They're like an on and off switch for your brain. So the brain that we can see and the parts of the brain that we cannot see. So every part of our bodies has a seen and an unseen part. That unseen part generally in this, I have no idea what these people are doing, but okay, I have to do it too. I don't have a choice. We go all going in the same direction. The unseen part of our bodies in this particular culture we call the spiritual part of our bodies. But I'm hesitating and I'm shying away from using that word because when we use that term, that denotes a separation of the physical and the spiritual. And that is a lie. So that's why I'm saying, okay, well, there was no point in doing that. We did all of that and we still can't get out here. So that is why I'm referring to it as the unseen part of your body, as opposed to referring to it as the spirit. All right, you won't let me out. Thank you. So the unseen part of your body, of your brain, is affected and flipped on and off by the eye. The seen part as well, actually. So the eye is like a switch. And what I mean by that is what you are seeing is what creates what you think, is what creates how you feel, is what creates how you react and interact. And what you think and what you feel and how you react and interact then is your experience of life. And your experience of life is what you use to create your idea of yourself, your idea of where you, your idea of your place in the universe and the cosmos. Your experience of life is what you use to create that. What you see is absolutely essential. It is the fuel, it is the food, it is the seed of what you are going to become. Think about, sometimes you have to start at an act and work your way back. So when you think about the trafficking of European and colonies for the creation of empire, when you think about Africans that had to be trafficked in order for empires to be created, one of the first things that they would do to these Africans of all genders would be to shave the head, to cut the hair. Same when they were trafficking the indigenous people of Turtle Island. One of the first things that they would do would be to cut the hair. One of the second things that they would do would be to make sure that you were no longer wearing your indigenous attire, that you no longer had your amulets and your talismans. These things, when we see them, invoke a reaction in our brain. What does it feel like when you see a man of African descent with beautiful long hair? Because it's something that we don't usually see. That's why I'm using this as my example. And I want you to think about what it feels like when you see a man of African descent with beautiful long hair. What does that feel like? What does that sight invoke within you? Let's start with that. What does it feel like when you see an indigenous man with beautiful long hair, and an indigenous man of Turtle Island with beautiful long hair? I'm using this image because it's not one that we usually see. What does that feel like? What does that sight invoke within you? So we're starting at the end of a thing to get to the beginning. So I want you to think about that. What does it feel like to see a man of West and Central African descent with beautiful long hair wearing West and Central African attire? What does that feel like? When we think about the importance of what our eyes are seeing, think about Afropunk. What do the images from Afropunk do for you? What do they invoke? How do they make you feel? What does that imagery do for you? Think about the imagery from the movie Black Panther. What did it do for you? How did it make you feel? Right? Image is everything. Image is everything. What you see is everything. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. So I'm starting there so that you have your own personal examples of what it is that I'm getting ready to say. Because it's not going to be validated by the white man's paperwork. What I'm about to say, it ain't got no white man's paperwork. It's out here without the white man's paperwork. You ain't gonna be able to go in a book and find it. White man's paperwork missing. Right? All right. We require seeing Black women in positions of leadership. Every pre-colonial empire that has ever flourished has flourished from the sight of Black women in position of leadership. Right? Beautiful, dark, indigenous women in position of leadership. That is an essential part of an empire flourishing. I am talking about pre-colonial empires. Post-colonial empires do not flourish. They dominate and control, and they hold all of the rest of us hostage to their domination and control. That is not what I am talking about. If that is what you are interested in doing, then this revolution over here is not the revolution for you. All pre-colonial empires flourished under the sight of Black women in positions of leadership. All of them. All of them. It was that sight. Can you imagine your grandmother, the grandmother that cooked, the same grandmother that cooked the greens and that prayed and moaned for everybody, the same grandmother that had all of the healing herbs and the healing teas, The same grandmother that reminded you of the importance of being educated, that told you how beautiful and wonderful you are. That same grandmother as the leader of your nation. Can you imagine what it would feel like to watch the State of the Union address and Big Mama or Muddia was the person who came on to talk? Can you imagine what that would do, what that does to your psyche? Imagine what that does to your psyche. Imagine how that impacts you. Imagine what ideas would flourish in your mind, how you would be creatively inspired just by seeing Big Mama give the State of the Union address. Just by seeing Nanny, we call my grandmama Nanny, right? That ancient Ghanaian word is what we use for my grandmama. Just by seeing Nanny give the State of the Union address. Just by seeing Muddia give the State of the Union address. In the South, Muddia is an honorific term. Tyler Perry has denigrated it and mocked it, but this is an honorific term, right? Imagine that. Just in the imagining of it, my mind is changed for the day. Just in the imagining of it, I can feel myself being empowered. And I promise you, it's the same for all of us. We all feel like this. There is a lie out in the world that if black men see black women in power, it makes them feel less. That's a lie. That's a lie. Quit saying that, quit bowing to that, quit believing that that is true, quit allowing your quit not fully raising your sons because you believe that your power is going to harm them. It's your power that it is through your power that they exist. It is through your power that they exist. So I'm saying this to say, at the way that you would feel seeing Big Mama give the State of the Union address is what you should be considering when you are creating your organizations, when you are creating your movements, when you are pulling together whatever spectacle you are creating for that moment in time. Imagine how it is going to feel. That is how essential it is to see black women in positions of leadership. It's that essential. Do you remember spending weekends away from your mother? Right? For some of us, it was co-parenting. We were spending weekends away from our mother because it was co-parenting. Sometimes it may be that somebody was giving your mother a break, right? So sometimes I might go and stay with my aunties, right? Or stay with my grandmother so that my mother could have a break. Remember those weekends away from your mother? And then remember at the end of the weekend when you got back to your mother's presence, how the sight of her settled you. You remember that? You were off in somewhere that was safe. You were off with people who love you too. But the sight of your mother settled you in a particular way. That is what we require. That is what we require. That is something that puts our destinies in order. Part of why we are suffering is that we're not having a sight to settle us. There's nothing in our eyes that says, okay, it's fine. Okay, we're home. Okay, we're safe. Okay, we're secure. That's not happening in our eyes, right? That is happening somewhere else, you know, but not in our eyesight. So consider that. I may come back later. I'm going in to administer my last exam for the semester. So I may come back later and expound further on this if I feel led to do so. If not, I will see you in the next video. But that is the importance of the sight of mother, the black woman, the body of the black woman, the mind of the black woman as we are working through this process of liberation. That is the importance of that. All right.